Welcome back to Murder with Friends. Today we're talking about Edmund Kemper, and where we're picking up, Edmund Kemper has just turned himself into authorities. And then on November 8th, 1973, he is convicted of 8 counts of 7 to life. So 7 years to life, which was actually the maximum penalty that he could receive that was not the death penalty at the time. He has killed 10 people. And once he's behind bars, I think this is what makes him such a fascinating subject for us to talk about, because he does a lot of interviews. And Hassan, you were mentioning before, he sat down and spoke with the authorities to try and explain where he was coming from, what demons he was fighting. And he's incredibly articulate. I don't think we can stress enough. I think he's probably the most violent, the most brutal, the most intelligent killer we've ever covered on this show.
Here's also another thing that we didn't really touch on as much. We're looking at motives, right? We're talking about why he did this. And another thing that I consistently saw throughout his interviews was the fact that he always mentioned how these women would anger him in one way, like how they would slight him in one way, shape, or form. And even the 150 women that he picked up before, they would anger him in one way. They would shame him, or that he thought that people always assumed that he was unintelligent. So, even when they told him, "You're actually an incredibly intelligent person. You have a very high IQ," he's like, "What? Like, people always told me I was really dumb." So I think that goes with a lifetime of being discriminated against because you're taller than other people, because you're different than other people. And I think that played along with his whole "I'm a victim here" mentality in his own mind, where these people would slight me, and that's why I felt disrespected, and that's why I had to murder them as well.
I think also what really fascinated me with Edmund Kemper is that he knew he was sick. So I read an interview with him where he says, I'd given 2 girls a ride in Berkeley, California, and I sort of decided I was going to kill them on the ride. I thought, yeah, it's kind of a good day to kill. And then he says that they had flowers, they were carrying flowers, they were going to meet up with a friend, and because of the destination, the direction they were heading, he was like, oh, I know exactly where I can kill them along the way. He described their dresses, he remembered them so vividly. And then he got to talking with them, and he decided, I don't think I can kill these. For whatever reason, he was dissuaded from killing them. Maybe he was in a rush, or I don't know. But then as soon as he let them out of the car, he realized, I'm so fucked up, I need to deal with this. And the way to deal with it was killing his mother. So he knew he was sick. He knew that the desire to kill was wrong, but to medicate it he was self-medicating, not unlike a drug addict. His self-medication was killing his mother, who he viewed as the root of his evil. I have an interview clip right now of him talking about the moment he knew he had to kill his mother. Let's take a look.
I walked up to her bed. She's laying there reading a paperback, as many thousands of nights before. And she said, "Oh, I suppose you're going to want to sit up all night and talk now." Shit. And I looked at her. I said, "No." I said, "Good night." And I knew I was going to kill her, you know? And I'm so cold, it's so hard. And that's the first time in 10 years I've looked at it that way. I mean, that intensely, that honestly. It hurts. Because I'm not a lizard, I'm not from under a rock. I came out of her vagina. See? I came out of my mother. And in a rage, I went right back in. For 7 years, she said, I haven't had sex with a man because of you. My murderous son is one of our arguments. I cut off her head, and I humiliated her corpse. It's there.
Does it make him a more sympathetic character to see him break down? Do you believe those are real human emotions? Because it makes me wonder a little bit. Is he acting?
Okay, yeah.
Is he feeling that way?
I think he does. And like,
you think he's feeling real emotions there?
A lot of people are gonna disagree with me. I just think he's so fucked up in the head. Like, why? What would be his motivation for pretending to feel that way?
Because that's his final victim. That's the prize. That's what he wanted to finally get to, and in his head maybe it justifies all the other killings that he did leading up to it, because he was and just like Grace mentioned earlier, like this way he could stop the killing. He thought maybe I could stop the killing if I killed my mother, and and instead of killing more, I just have to kill her. So I think he's just trying to gain sympathy. But that could
and
also
he did
be,
though. He did stop killing after that. He turned
he
himself
killed
in.
his friend and then he turned himself in. But like, look, and by the way, you mentioned, that's really interesting that you mentioned the reason for why he killed his friend. That shows that he was trying to get away with it. And then the lack of publicity around the murders led him, in my opinion, led him to come out and be like, I did this. Because they want, like, this is, in a very fucked up way, this is his art. This is his entire life's work.
But now he's not going to be able to continue doing that art.
No, I know, but this is, why would you, when you're done with your final masterpiece, you're done as an artist. You should, like, a lot of serial killers feel this way. Some artists feel this way as well. In today's consumer culture world, obviously, most artists don't stop. They continue making works and works and works. Like 50 Cent probably should have stopped making albums after his first one.
Okay,
and
not
it would have been great.
50 Cent.
I'm just saying, like, look, whether you appreciate his music or not, like, he's still an artist in one way, shape, or form. And these killers view themselves as such. So this was his, this was the Sistine Chapel, basically. Like, this is his biggest accomplishment, and the fact that there's
just say it.
This is his design, and the fact that people aren't paying attention to it, or at least he felt that people weren't really publicizing what was happening in his mind. I think that's the reason why I was like, wait a minute, I have to come out and I have to explain all the other stuff that I did. I have to submit myself to the authorities. Otherwise, it might take a while for them to figure this out. And I don't even think he was interested in committing any more. I mean, he possibly could have committed more murders. That's why
he knew how to get away with it.
Yeah, that's why he got away.
And that's what I'm aware of when I watch interviews with Edmund Kemper. And I've seen just about everything you can find on the internet that he is, because he sat down and he's spoken with a lot of different outlets.
Yeah.
He's a master manipulator. If there's one thing that we know about
I agree
Edmund
100%.
Kemper, he was able to manipulate everyone in his life, the police officers, the girls that he killed, the girls that were just in his car just giving them rides. He learns how to interact with people and he adapts. So when I find myself, and I'm a very empathetic person, empathizing with his tears about his mother, I worry that I am confusing his intelligence for humanity, because I don't think that I don't think he's really as sad as he wants us to believe in that interview.
I
also don't think
agree with you.
it's a stretch for him to have an emotional response to killing his mother.
No,
because she elicited so many other emotional responses that led him to murder all these people.
Well, you were talking about before that towards the end, his victims. Towards the end, he would go looking for victims after a fight with his mother. So he would get really angry.
Yeah.
He'd get into a fight with his mom. He had to move back home.
So if anything, maybe those tears aren't sadness, but it's just reliving that cathartic feeling.
I think it could easily be tears of joy. I think I'm not even kidding. I'm serious. Like, this is his final work of art, his final masterpiece.
Look, you can't argue against that his mom, while she was alive, didn't make him feel angry, didn't make him feel sad. She made him feel all those things. And when he finally killed her, there was like this conflict in his mind with his mom. He loved her. He knew he was supposed to love her. He craved her, but he wanted to fucking kill her too. And then he did, and he's remembering it now. I don't know. Those are.
I think where we find ourselves is that because we know the capabilities, the intellectual abilities of Edmund Kemper, you don't want to be victim to it by feeling the emotion that he wants to elicit from you.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to watch those clips and think to myself, I bet he wants me to feel sympathy for him. Because I know that that's what he did with all his victims before. With Aiko Koo, he said that he was going to kill himself that night. And so even though he brought a gun to her, she let him back into the car so he could kill her, because she said, oh, this man's in so much emotional, turmoil. I really should be there for him. What a crazy story this is going to be later on in life. And so I don't want to feel for him, but I would be lying if I said that I don't when I watch that clip. I don't want to buy into it. My question for you guys is, he did all these interviews once he was behind bars, and a lot of them are basically what we now understand serial killers to be. He sort of wrote that book on what is a serial killer, along with the help of Quantico and the FBI. Do you think that he sat down with so many people and discussed his crimes and his childhood and his thought process because he wanted fame and notoriety, or was it because he craved the connection, not unlike he was doing when he was going to the bars with law enforcement?
Ooh, that's really interesting.
yeah.
I think it's a combination of both, but the overwhelming idea behind it has to be, like I said, I keep going back to the same artist narrative, but he wanted notoriety for his life's work.
Plus, he was really intelligent. He could hold a conversation, and he could keep talking and talking and talking.
So you think it was notoriety then? You think he sort of wanted to be famous?
It's not even wanting to be famous. It's wanting to show the world what he had done, what actions had led him to commit the crimes he did, and how he got back at his maternal figure that tormented him in the beginning of his life. It's no different. It's still the same exact mentality behind the baby doll when he was a child. My sister broke my toy, made me upset, so I'm going to defile and ruin this baby. I'm going to retaliate in a disproportionate way and ruin this doll. It's the same concept. My mother tormented me my entire life, so I'm going to decapitate and humiliate her, and I want everyone to know this is my life's work, this is my design.
Wow. Okay, so final question for both of you. Why do you think Edmund Kemper isn't more infamous? So he isn't really up there with the Jeffrey Dahmers, with Ted Bundys, John Wayne Gacy, or Charles Manson. Why do you think we don't know about him and hear about him as much as we maybe should, because he sat down and talked about what he did with so many people?
Part of it is his murders happened earlier in the 70s, so there was less national media coverage about it. Even though Charles Manson had committed a murder and he was getting all the media attention.
Yeah, the 70s were kind of
No, I think it's a
murder
hotbed
decade.
for murder, especially in that
But
area.
he killed a celebrity.
That's
And
true.
That's probably like my main thing, because when I think of Ted Bundy, he was on trial in the 80s, where there was way more media attention.
I don't know. I
surrounding
think
that.
it also maybe have gotten bogged down by all the other murders that were happening, specifically
Zodiac.
hyper-focused in that region, that were more interesting to the populace in general. I think that could have played a part in the lack of notoriety or media coverage around it. Even though there was media coverage around it, you can't artificially create interest in the public.
Yeah,
Even though he tried.
my opinion is I think that we don't talk about Edmund Kemper a lot, at least outside of circles like this, because his murders were so incredibly cruel and graphic and violent
But
that I
Ted
don't.
Bundy's were too.
True, but Ted Bundy had he
had
also had the
courtroom
volume of number,
antics
the
and,
courtroom
like,
antics as well.
He was a handsome guy. Like,
Yeah,
there was all those
So
parts
there's a
of
little
it.
bit more of like the boyfriend you don't know, like what's he doing, that sort of thing. Whereas Edmund Kemper was just cool, calm, collected, almost like
Giant.
you'd meet him and you'd think, oh, he's a gentle giant, but he isn't anyone's boyfriend material. And what we see with the media is they want to push a narrative.
Yeah.
So it's John Wayne Gacy becomes the clown killer. Charles Manson is this huge cult leader. Eileen Wuornos is a prostitute turned bad. You need to have a story. And Edmund Kemper was like,
The co-ed killer.
kind of, I guess. The
But-
co-ed killer, but nothing really stuck to him.
But a similar murder was
too
happening
open of
in
a
that
book.
same region at the time. So it was just I think he got bogged down. He just there was too much media coverage around too many murders at the time, specifically in that region. Some sexier than others, and that was the unfortunate reason why he didn't get that national notoriety that he so desperately sought after.
Or is it fortunate that we don't hear about Edmund Kemper more because it's just this stomach-turning murder that you don't want to know about? All right, guys. That is Edmund Kemper. Let us know in the comment section below, had you heard of him before? What aspect of his story sticks with you the most? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And if you want more exclusive content, make sure to check out tytnetwork.com/join. We'll see you next time on Murder with Friends.